Hello, welcome to the Good Grazing Makes Sense channel. I'm Dave Voth, today's host. Today we're going to be talking with Kelly Fogarty, the Director of Operations with SRM. We have an annual meeting coming up, and it's a pretty big deal. Before we get into that, I want to thank our sponsors, the Bureau of Land Management, United States Forest Service, and NRCS for helping us produce this content. I want to say briefly that before I really got involved in SRM as a producer, I honestly felt intimidated by SRM. I didn't think that was the place for me, and I know I've probably said this at other times, but I could not have been more wrong. SRM welcomes producers, and I regret the time I spent not being in SRM. The relationships I've built through SRM and the technical things I've learned without having to take any college classes has been extremely helpful in my career and in profitability. So, with that being said, I want to introduce Kelly Fogarty, the SRM Director of Operations. And Kelly, can you give us a little background on SRM and tell us what's coming up that's such a big deal?
Absolutely. So SRM, Society for Range Management, is a society for the land, is what we like to say, and for people who love the land. And we encompass really all perspectives of the rangeland community. Our members are land managers, scientists, educators, students, producers, and conservationists. We're truly a diverse membership, all unified by a strong land ethic. Our mission is providing leadership for the stewardship of rangelands based on sound ecological principles. And with that is also the vision of a well-trained and highly motivated group of professionals and rangeland users working with productive, sustainable rangeland ecosystems. And I think what that all boils down to is folks that work on the land, folks that utilize the land, and folks all working together to make sure we're best utilizing the land to the best of our abilities. And I think that's where Good Grazing Makes Sense has really come in and filled a much needed place within the society of really looking at that application and working with one of the land's most important users, the producers. Coming from myself as a producer, I'm a fifth generation rancher. I kind of echo Dave's opening sentiments there in that before I started working with SRM, I wasn't aware of SRM either. And the knowledge that I've gained since even being on the staff side of things, but there's just so many resources and so many incredible people and incredibly educated and smart people within this society that really have a lot of unique perspectives when it comes to rangeland management. And that I think GGMC is bringing that information to producers and to those on the ground who might not know of SRM, but I think we can all agree that we all need to.
One thing you said really stuck out to me is it's the land ethic that binds us, and I'd never heard or read that before, but that really is true. And I don't want to say that you don't get those values from other organizations. Certainly, there's other organizations that have land ethic, but that's the core that binds us together. Markets are one thing, droughts another thing, but we all have a very high land ethic in SRM, and that love of the land is really what binds us. And like you said, across a very diverse group. And it's not so diverse that when we all get together, we're boxing with each other or anything. But it's diverse enough that you can sit across the table from somebody who has a pretty different view of yours and have a good, decent, intelligent conversation about it. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things about SRM and regret not joining 10 years sooner. One of the things that I like best about SRM is our annual meeting, which is coming up in Spokane in February. Kelly, do you want to take that away and maybe focus in a little bit on some of the programs we have highlighted for producers specifically? I know there's a lot going on in a compacted couple of days, but we've peeled out a few things that we think producers would be extremely interested in.
Absolutely. So yeah, we are coming up on the 78th SRM annual meeting, and that is going to be in Spokane, Washington this year. So February 10th, 11th, and the 12th is where you are going to find all of the real technical program that makes an SRM meeting what it is. And when you kind of look at the makeup of SRM, like we talked about, who is SRM, what is the focus of SRM, you find it all at our annual meeting. We get over normally around 1,200 people that attend, and it's truly a representation of the SRM membership is at these meetings. You have your educators, you have your on your ground managers, you have your producers, you have those private and public folks that are all there in the room together, and you really can't find that kind of breadth of perspective and conversations that happen on at SRM, whether it be in the meeting rooms or whether it be in the hallways, anywhere else. When we look at the SRM annual meeting, there is a lot going on, and it can be really overwhelming if you're just looking at it just on paper. And so I think that's where Dave and I are going to break it down a little bit in terms of what can you expect at these meetings. A lot of the conversations that you're going to have are going to be just invaluable in terms of just who you meet at the annual meeting. But kind of how the structure of the meeting does go is that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we'll kick off each day with the plenary session, which is really just our opening session of the day, bringing folks together and bringing that unique regional perspective in terms of rangeland management. This one is open to the whole meeting. In there, you're going to get a little bit of local flavor and kind of more of those broad, all-encompassing rangeland discussions before we kick things off. And so then as you really get into the day, the meeting is broken up into 3 time blocks each day. There's some sessions that will go all day. There's other sessions that might be only during that 1 hour and 40 minutes. And so you can plan to go to one all day session. If you want to hit up a couple different speakers, you can do that as well. And you can bop in and out from room to room. There, we don't lock the doors. The meeting is really meant for people to pick and choose talks that they want to go see, topics that they want to hear about. And I'll say it's because there's a lot of information at the SRM meeting. When you have over 50 sessions that are happening in addition to, 30 technical talks and everything's happening all at once, it can be really hard to pick and choose. But we've got our technical program posted on our website so folks can start going through all that information, start kind of planning out their trip and who they want to see. We'll have a meeting app, and we'll also have a printed program that will include all of this for folks. Our website right now is open. You go to rangelands.org. There's a banner right at the main page. You can click there and it'll take you to our 2025 meeting page where you can learn more about registration and all of those kind of technical details. But I think what Dave and I are going to get into a little bit more is really what kind of topics, especially as you look at producers, can you expect to find at the meeting? And I think it's very fitting that the meeting will kick off Monday with a producers forum this day specific to producers. And I know we'll get into a little bit more details about the producers forum here in a little bit. There's also going to be some more technical sessions. We have what are called symposia. And so our symposia looks at a very specific topic and gets into the meat and the bones of it. And so you're going to have multiple speakers speaking on one topic, really looking at the technical side of it, people that have submitted papers and that are really kind of experts in this arena. And so we've got some sessions here looking at controlling exotic annual grasses. We'll have representatives from the Agricultural Research Service looking at their poisonous plant research lab. And then we've also got some on Monday as well looking at native seeds and also process-based management and the science of application. And we will have this document that I'm referring to right now. Dave and some of the folks at GGMC have pulled out what are these more producer kind of focused sessions that are taking place at our annual meeting. They've done the hard work for you. They've gone through all the long list of sessions that are taking place and said, hey, these are the ones each day that this is what a producer is going to want to come and see. And so we will have this document posted, I know, on GGMC and the materials here so that you can look at it, and you can always email the Good Grazing Makes Sense team or myself if you have any questions about the sessions, or if you're looking for something in particular. Maybe you're looking at this and wondering, hey, I wonder if there's going to be any talks about this specific topic. Shoot us a note and we will find out. Because chances are it is going to be talked about, and we'll help you find it. So, as you look into the subsequent days, Tuesday, again, it's a full day as we look at some emerging technologies. A really big attendance getter the last couple of years have been our virtual fence workshops, and it's been really interesting to pop your head into there and see what's going on in that arena. You've got some more specific ones looking at the real kind of technical side, riparian sessions. Each day you'll find sessions as well looking at fire and whether that's restoration, grazing to reduce wildfires. That's always going to be a big topic at SRM, as we have a lot of folks that are really specialists in that area. And so you can expect to see that on each day's agenda as well. Tuesday, we do have a tour that is open to anybody that wants to attend. You just have to register. And it's a post-fire tour. So again, coming back to that fire word, it's going to be going out to the Lazy R Ranch. It's in nearby Deer Park, Washington, and it's going to be going to a couple different spots looking at cover crops and grazing, as well as looking at some of these restoration techniques that are being utilized post fire. So you sit in the classroom and you hear a lot and you take all of this in, but then there's a tour where you have the opportunity to also go out, get on the ground, and see what you've just been hearing about inside this big convention center on the ground. So that's on Tuesday as well. And then Wednesday, we've got sessions going just until 3 p.m. as 3:30 on Wednesday. We have an annual award ceremony that does happen during SRM, so we don't hold sessions during that time. I'll plug as well some of the most important conversations that you have might happen in the hallways at SRM, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that type of interaction. We will have coffee breaks in the morning and afternoon located inside our trade show. The trade show is a great place to chat with our exhibitors who are all within the fields of rangeland management, everywhere from our presenting sponsors with NRCS, BLM, and Forest Service down to some of these applicators like virtual fence companies, seed companies. We really cover the gamut, and it's always a great social spot to go to. And so that is something that we definitely always hit, not just for that typical kind of trade show, but to have those conversations there in that room as well. So I think, Dave, I'll pause. I'll kick it over to you.
It is a huge event. The hardest thing about the annual meeting is deciding which one to go to. We pulled out a few things that we think producers will find specifically intriguing, but there's very few sessions, workshops, symposium that wouldn't be of interest to any producers. A couple of things occurred to me that I had never really thought of before from the producer side. We all know that there's an emerging market for ecosystem services. It's going to be big, one way or another. And if you're even thinking about dipping your toe into that, I can't think of a better place to go meet a broad array of people who are buying ecosystem credits. Maybe some that you haven't even thought of. We've all talked about carbon quite a bit, but I think you'll find some folks out there who are doing some pretty innovative things regarding ecosystem services. Couldn't think of a better place to go see all of that in one shot. And not just in a meeting. You can go down to the bar and have a beer with them and chat about real life stuff and how it might apply to your place. The other thing that occurred to me during this conversation is it's a great place to meet the next generation of rangeland managers. This is going to be the next generation of range cons. This is going to be the next generation of people who are making decisions on rangelands at a broad scale. You might have a conversation with a young person who's going to go be a range con in a different state and have a new perspective based on the conversation that you had with them. Kelly started to talk about the Producers Forum. I'm on the committee for a Producers Forum. We have a fantastic lineup. We have John Lundgren coming, and to be honest, I'm not super familiar with John Lundgren, but the committee was adamant that he join us. Ones I'm more familiar with is Alejandro Carrillo, is a holistic management enthusiast who's doing some great work down in Mexico. We have Alan Savory scheduled, but we found out earlier this week he is not going to be making it in person. So we're working on a virtual presentation, really less of a presentation, more of a question and answer, and a real back and forth between Alan Savory, which what we did was try and pick out speakers that I think the direct quote was, who would you drive 5 hours and pay $200 to see? And those are the kind of names we picked up. Now, despite Alan Savory not being able to make it in person, he is very much engaged and wants to participate. So more to come on that. The lineup may change a little bit. Nonetheless, it will be very good information. And that will be the majority of the day on Monday. So producers, I would encourage you to join that one if nothing else, and not just producers, but land managers of any kind. What else can we say about the annual meeting, Kelly? There's just so much going
There's
on
so
in just
much.
three
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, there's just so much. I think it's take the time to start looking through some of these sessions that are listed. Like Dave said as well, for our young producers out there, it's such a great opportunity as well. We will be having a young producers forum as well. That's our young producers, young professionals conclave, which represents young professionals in the rangeland community across all sorts of sectors and professions. They're very active and they'll be putting on their own producers forum, which will have a young, young professional focus to it. They did this last year as well. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one. And I think one of the biggest things is if you're on the fence about going, go. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. The amount of information you're going to be able to glean over a couple of days is more than you would have been able to ever possibly consume from a number of magazines or resources or anything like that. It's worth the time and it's worth the effort, and the conversations that you have will really be invaluable, and a lot that you'll take with you out of the convention center back to your operation as well. So again, you can go to rangelands.org. From there, you click on the meeting banner up at the top. It'll take you to our registration page. We have 1-day registrations available. We also have full meeting registrations. If you decide that you've got a group of ranchers that want to go, shoot me an email. My email is posted all over that website. And so shoot me an email and we'll get you guys together for a group discounted registration. We want to see our producers there. It's been a high priority from the entire society to make sure that we are always keeping a focus on the producers. And I think Dave and his team with the Producers Forum and everybody at Good Grazing Makes Sense have really taken that to heart and really brought it to the next level these past couple of years. And so I'm excited about everything that we're going to be able to offer in Spokane, and we hope to see you guys there.
Thank you, Kelly. That's a great place to leave it. We can't have good rangeland management if producers aren't in business, and that's what we're here for, is to combine those parts of ecology and economics to keep producers producing, and hopefully we all have some of that good land ethic. And if you do, join us at the annual meeting in Spokane. I want to thank you for your time, Kelly. I appreciate it. I want to thank our sponsors, the Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service, and NRCS. And one last thing I want to end on is those hallway conversations. There's been times I've been on my way to a symposium and got kind of stuck in a hallway conversation that was even better than the symposium. You're going to meet people that you ordinarily would not interact with, and a lot of good things can come from that. So thank you all. Hope to see you in Spokane.